Welcome back, dreamers and realists alike, to Anything You Want, the digital archive of human emotion where we refuse to let the stories of our time be reduced to mere headlines. Here, we traverse the landscape of the heart, exploring the hidden valleys of pain and the soaring peaks of reconciliation that define the lives of the stars you adore. Before we unlock the doors to tonight's profound narrative, I invite you to solidify your place in our community. Subscribe to the channel to never miss a chapter, press the like button to signal your presence to the algorithm, and for those who wish to be the true patrons of this storytelling art, I urge you to click the join button. Your membership is the fuel that allows us to dig deeper, write longer, and uncover the truths others miss. Tonight, we turn our lens toward the beating heart of Turkish youth culture. We are stepping into the neon-lit shadows of an Istanbul night that witnessed a resurrection. For weeks, the silence between Mert Ramazan Demir and Afra Saraçoğlu has been deafening, a void filled with rumors of rings discarded, hearts broken, and paths diverging. But history is often written in a single night. Last night, under the cover of darkness and amidst the thrum of the city's nightlife, the script was flipped. This is not just a story about two actors meeting in a club. This is a story about the courage it takes to look someone in the eye and say, "I am not done with you yet." To understand the magnitude of what transpired last night, one must first appreciate the texture of the silence that preceded it. Istanbul is a city that thrives on gossip, a metropolis where whispers travel faster than the ferries crossing the Bosphorus. For weeks, the names Mert and Afra have been spoken with a tone of melancholy. The ring crisis, as the media dubbed it, had become a symbol of a fracture that seemed irreparable. Fans were left decoding cryptic Instagram stories, while the tabloids painted a picture of a love story that had burned too bright and turned to ash. However, the atmosphere inside the venue last night suggested that the ashes were still warm. Mert Ramazan Demir arrived first, a solitary figure moving through the crowd with the kind of deliberate focus that separates a man on a mission from a man simply looking for a drink. Observers noted that he did not seek the spotlight, rather, he sought the shadows. He chose a corner table, a vantage point that offered both seclusion and a view of the entrance. There was a stoicism in his posture, a quiet intensity that seemed to push the ambient noise of the club into the background. He was not there to party, he was there to wait. And in his waiting, there was a palpable tension, the kind of static electricity that builds before a summer storm. He sat as a man rehearsing a speech in his mind, or perhaps, a man preparing to listen to a verdict. The air around him was heavy with unsaid words. It is rare to see a celebrity of his caliber so exposed in his solitude, stripping away the entourage and the fanfare to simply be. It was the first signal that tonight was not about image, it was about reality. I pause here to ask you, the heartbeat of Anything You Want. Have you ever had to wait for someone knowing that the conversation you were about to have would change everything? Is there bravery in waiting? Share your experiences in the comments below. Let's build a tapestry of our own stories. If Mert was the anchor, Afra Saraçoğlu was the storm. Her entrance into the venue was described by witnesses as a shift in atmospheric pressure. It wasn't just that heads turned, which they inevitably do, but that the energy of the room realigned toward her. She walked in carrying the invisible weight of the past few weeks, the scrutiny, the judgment, the heartbreak. Yet, she held her head high, wearing her vulnerability like a shield. The moment their eyes met across the crowded room is destined to be retold in fan forums for years to come. It was not the dramatic, slow-motion run of a movie, it was something far more intimate and grounded. Mert stood up. It was a simple action, yet in the language of their relationship, it was a thunderclap. By rising, he was acknowledging her presence, her importance, and the gravity of the moment. He was signaling that he was ready to face whatever she brought to the table, be it anger, forgiveness, or finality. They did not rush. They moved toward each other with the caution of two people who know that one wrong step could shatter the fragile bridge they were attempting to build. And when they finally stood face to face, the noise of the club seemed to dissolve. Then came the gesture that stopped time. Amidst the low light and the pulsing bass of the music, Mert reached into the pocket of his jacket. He did not produce a grand bouquet of flowers or a theatrically large gift. He produced a small, shimmering object that had been the subject of 1,000 headlines, the ring. The act of returning the ring was performed with a gentleness that contradicted the violence of the rumors surrounding them. He did not force it upon her, he offered it. It was a question asked in metal and stone. Are we still us? Afra's reaction was the answer. There was no hesitation, no performative coyness. She accepted it. By placing the ring back onto her finger, or simply taking it into her possession, she was signing a peace treaty with their shared past. This was not merely jewelry. In the lexicon of love, a ring is a circle, it has no beginning and no end. By reclaiming it, she was stating that their story had not reached its conclusion. If this deep dive into the psychology of reconciliation is resonating with you, please ensure you are subscribed to Anything You Want. And if you want to support our team of writers and researchers who bring these cinematic details to life, click the join button today. Your support allows us to keep the storytelling pure and the details exclusive. Following the exchange, the dynamic at their table shifted from tentative to fortress-like. In a venue teeming with curious onlookers, aspiring influencers, and hidden camera phones, Mert and Afra constructed an invisible wall around themselves. Mert's body language underwent a transformation. The solitary, waiting figure vanished, replaced by the archetype of the protector. He leaned in, his frame shielding her from the prying eyes of the room. He spoke to her in low tones, his focus absolute. Observers noted that he was constantly scanning the perimeter, gently guiding away overzealous fans or curious guests who ventured too close. This was not possessiveness, it was preservation. They were tending to a flame that had almost flickered out, cupping their hands around it to protect it from the wind. Afra, usually the vibrant center of attention, seemed to sink into this protection with a sense of relief. She looked like a woman who had finally put down a heavy load. The conversation was intense, marked by tears that were quickly wiped away and smiles that broke through the heaviness like sunbeams through clouds. They were doing the hard work of love in a public place, a paradox that only those who live in the limelight can truly understand. Eventually, the sanctuary of the night had to be broken. The exit was inevitable, and the press was waiting. As the doors swung open, the couple stepped from the dim, amber-hued intimacy of the club into the harsh, stroboscopic violence of the paparazzi flashbulbs. It was a wall of white light, a cacophony of shouting voices, Mert Bey. Afra Hanım. Is it true? Are you back together? Show us the ring. In the past, such an assault might have caused them to separate, to rush to the car with heads bowed. But tonight was different. Tonight, Mert placed a firm, unwavering hand on the small of Afra's back. It was a tactile anchor, a way of saying, I have you. We walk through this together. Afra, for her part, did not hide her hand. The ring was there, catching the light of the camera flashes, a defiant sparkle against the chaos. They moved as a single unit, a synchronized entity navigating the storm. They did not answer the shouting questions, their unity was the answer. We often see these paparazzi walks, but we rarely think about the pressure. Do you think the media has the right to demand answers at 3 a.m.? Or is silence the most powerful response? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. The moment the car door closed, the world fell away. The muffled sound of the engine and the soft hum of the tires on the asphalt replaced the screaming reporters. Inside the cabin of the vehicle, the air was thick with the adrenaline of the exit and the relief of escape. It was here, in the moving capsule of the car, that the true emotional climax of the night occurred. Afra let out a breath she seemed to have been holding for weeks, her shoulders dropping, the armor finally sliding off. Mert watched her, the passing streetlights casting rhythmic shadows across his face. He broke the silence with a sentence that was short, yet heavy enough to anchor a ship. You didn't deserve what happened. Let us deconstruct these 6 words. He did not say, I'm sorry. He did not say, "It wasn't my fault." He acknowledged her pain. He validated her suffering. In the complex dance of relationships, validation is often more powerful than apology. He was admitting that the chaos, the rumors, the hurt, it was an unjust burden she had been forced to carry. This admission seemed to unlock the final gate of Afra's defenses. The conversation that followed, as the car wound its way toward the Bosphorus, was the kind of raw, unfiltered dialogue that saves relationships. They spoke of the pressure, the fear of loss, and the fatigue of being Mert and Afra rather than just two people in love. The car eventually came to a halt at a quiet vantage point overlooking the Bosphorus. The black water of the strait, separating two continents, churned silently below them, a perfect metaphor for their relationship. Deep, sometimes dark, strong currents, but undeniably majestic. They sat in the car, gazing out at the city lights reflecting on the waves. The frantic energy of the club was gone. The aggressive glare of the paparazzi was gone. It was just them and the water. In this stillness, Afra looked down at the ring that had found its way back to her. A faint, almost playful smile tugged at the corner of her lips, a sign of the resilience of her spirit. She turned to Mert and asked a question that was both simple and profound. "And why did you choose tonight to give it back?" The question hung in the air, wrapped in affection. It was her way of asking, why now? What changed? While Mert's specific answer remains a secret shared only between the two of them, the outcome was visible to the stars above. They leaned into each other, heads resting together, watching the water flow. It was a moment of peace after a long war. And so, as the sun began to threaten the horizon of Istanbul, Mert Ramazan Demir and Afra Saraçoğlu drove away from the edge of the water, no longer two separated stars drifting in the dark, but a constellation realigned. They have proven that while love in the spotlight is a fragile thing, prone to cracks and breaks, it is also capable of being forged into something stronger in the fires of adversity. They chose to repair rather than replace. They chose the hard work of us over the easy path of me. This story is a testament to the power of second chances and the importance of symbolic gestures. But now, the story belongs to you. If this narrative moved you, if you felt the tension of the club and the relief of the car ride, please like this video so we know to bring you more stories of this caliber. Subscribe to anything you want to stay ahead of the curve. And please, hit that join button to become a supporter of deep, meaningful celebrity journalism. We leave you with this question: can a relationship truly start over, or does the past always haunt the future? Tell us your truth in the comments. Until the next secret is whispered, until the next truth is revealed, this is Anything You Want. Stay curious.